Welcome to this psychophilosophical spoken word internet series, Inalienable Paradise. This is aimed to providing stories and tactics to help people, even in the most traumatic and inescapable of circumstances, to help people with things universally accessible overcome such circumstances or feelings of terror, worthlessness, and helplessness. We hope we will provide the help that so many people need, and that you will find at least some value in this. Thank you. Hello everyone, this is John coming in again. In my last installment of this series, I did the first of a two-part episode of me doing a narration of a very special book. And the book is called Severance by Robert Ollie Butler. And I've already explained most of the context at the beginning of the first episode, so I don't feel I need to do too much explanation. But I had already done 31 that are self-described in the book as shorts, very little pieces of text that make up the whole story, with the stories being what goes on through somebody's thoughts during the 30 to 180 seconds after they've been decapitated, and moments of complete inescapability. But as this series has been trying to, I guess what I've been trying to express in this series is that it's in those moments where we need to find the most transforming tools. So I am 31 shorts in, and I'm going to do the remaining 31 or 32. But anyway, I am going to start and finish part 2 right now. And so here is part 2 of my Inalienable Paradise special of the narration of the book Severance by Robert Butler. Part 2. Number 1. Or should I go 32? Maybe I shouldn't enumerate them at all, because that's kind of exhausting. Or maybe I should. I'm thinking about it. I'll just start from 1, because it actually looks less taxing that way. I won't say that I'm going all the way to 62. It'll just be to 31, because this is part 2 after all. So I will start with number 1. Number 1. Jacob, American slave, beheaded by his owner, 1855. Snowbelly frying in the first coming up light, I smell it being only a child. My Suki mammy whisper me about how my own from her body, mammy, done been sold away, but she still loves me. The morning bell ringing on some other plantation, far off, Suki mammy, singing my ways, cloudy go, send them angels down. Our own morning bell ringing, and I am a strong back man, and the driver beats me, bullwhip fire. Now across my right side, now across my left, and another day he beats me, and another, my back always on fire, clearing some new part of the forest, and for corn, and for cotton, the chopping done, and the grubbing, and the log heaps piled and burning, filling the night sky with flame. And I know something burning in me, and Suki lying in the dirt, the driver nudging her at the shoulder with his boot, 'cause she tell me a child how he have a soul of his own, and that night I am rushing, and my thumbs dig deep in the driver's throat, and I lay a torch to a hayrick, the sky going hot as a bullwhip lash, behind me the hounds calling, and I am running hard through corn cornrow and forest, and I am a child, and I walk just a little ways from my Suki to the window, and I see the first fire of dawn, and a bell is ringing far off somewhere. Number 2. Angry Eyes. Apache warrior. Beheaded by Mexican troops. 1880. I already did this one, actually. Have I... Let's see. I'm looking through this to see where in the world I left off. Okay, I did the one after it, Chin Chin Chan. So I will do... I'll start with Chin Chin Chan. Sorry, I'm going to start over. Number 1. Chin Chin Chan. Student. Beheaded by Chinese authorities for maintaining a romantic correspondence with an American girl he met while studying in the USA. 1882. Moon, no longer a blossom, a pearl, a lantern, and a lover's door, but a bodiless face, mine, in a train window. She on the platform trying not to look at me directly, as if she were there for someone else. And the train hurtles in the dark, and I stare into the stars, and not even a poet could find the moon in this sky, not even Li Po, in a boat with quill and ink in hand. He searches this night sky, and then looks at me from across the water, and shrugs, and I am the cicada. 17 at last. My skin splits open, and I emerge a perfect man, ready to sing, but there is so little time, and the song I hear in return fades in the grind of these engines. I sit with my own quill and ink, the cicadas singing in the courtyard outside. My dear Elizabeth, my love, these words I write, blur before my eyes, even as she draws near. The smell of lavender, the low trill of her laughter, and then a sigh. You sweet boy, what are we to do, she says. And I put my hand on hers, and I float above in the dark, and I see Li Po in his boat, and he leans far out over the water, opening his arms to embrace the severed head of a moon, and he tips forward and vanishes. That one was actually really beautiful. Incredibly heartbreaking, but beautiful. I'm really glad I read that. Number 2. Dave Rutabaga. Outlaw and briefly member of Billy the Kid's gang. Beheaded by townspeople in Parral, Mexico. Ready now to throw down on me, some old Johnny Reb calls me out, and I'm young and twitchy, and into my hand comes my 1860 Colt Army, my first sweet thing walnut in my palm, back powder, and paper-wrapped cartridges, 8-inch barrel coming out, and it's been around a long time, and knows what to do. The bluing near all rubbed off, but you can see the big masted ships etched on the cylinder, the Texas Navy blowing up the Mexicans, their dark faces around me, hands grabbing, and a later Colt in my hand. My peacemaker barks like a stable dog. A fat Mex flying back from the table, his sombrero spattered from my bullet in his brain, and Billy touches my shoulder. The kid is dead, but there are his eyes, as blue as noonday, and his tiny hand on my shoulder. He has the smallest damn hands, like a girl. Billy whispers, "Let's ride," and I lift my hand to touch his, and I'm holding my first Colt, all sassy and sweet and long, and it thumps and kicks and goes hot, and Johnny Reb is falling backward. My first kill, and I say to him, "Here's me," and all at once I see my life ahead, my hand full of pistol, my trigger finger touchy as my cock, and I'm riding hard, and I'm lying under the stars, and Billy's sleeping nearby, quiet as a girl. Number 3. Agnes Gwenlyn, factory girl, decapitated by elevator, 1889. Quarry sounds, the thump and boom all day. The dishes rattle and Mama flinches each time with Papa out there, breaking up the mountain, and then he and my uncles are by the fire and they sing, and I huddle into sleep. Ah, he nos, they sing all through the night, and I am curled on a straw mattress stacked with 100 others below decks, the ocean out in the dark all around us, and Mama lies above me. I can hear her crying for my father, crushed by falling slate. A quarryman's death. Miss Liberty watches us sail by, her torch lifted in the twilight, and it suddenly flares into electric light, and we gasp and cheer, and we sit in the harbor, the city on one hand and Ellis Island on the other. A basket goes over the side, and up comes a strange new thing. Bananas I would eat one skin, and all but for a man with quarry hands bending near and peeling it for me. And I eat, and it is good, and he is gone, and we are in the open trolley. Mama and I, and we are carried up the Broadway beneath buildings higher than mountains, and harder than slate, and the tenant is dark, and surrounds us like the sea, and he sings softly in my ear, "Sleep, my love, and peace attend thee," and I whisper, "All right, Papa, all right." Number 4. Charles H. Stewart, Texas farmer, beheaded by his 2 teenage daughters, 1904. Underfoot the pine board cricks. I pause and let it die. I want to go in quiet. The dark and the chill are coming up under my nightshirt, and I'm skittish, feeling the dangle of my of my parts. I am moving along again, bobbling and churning down there. The door is closed. I come near, and I palm the knob, which is cool as the curve of their shoulders. I turn the knob softly. But now they're sitting in sunlight in the kitchen, their mama working the water pump in the yard, them both side by side. My daughters come from my flesh, and Wilhelmina is old enough to look at me that way. The stare that don't flicker, the woman stare like her mama, but without the prattle and the complaints. Valmer not yet with the stare, her eyes still restless like some other woman I know. And the pine board cricks under my step, and I keep on to the doorknob, and I touch it, and it's cold, and I turn it, and the pine board cricks, and I slide on along, and my hand goes to the doorknob, and it is serious cold to the touch. No, not cold at all. It's hot, it's searing. Hot my hand is fixing to torch up, but I can't let go, and from under the door comes the smell of sulfur, and I know it's not them inside. It's what's next for me. Number 5. Rachel Pogorelsky, Jewish woman, beheaded in Russian pogrom, 1905. Taste of horseradish, taste of nettle. I draw the covers tight about me. The trees beyond the dark window lash in the wind. My brother nearby weeps against his will. Sorry, Papa, sorry. And beneath the wind my father's voice tumbles. Pinchas, be still, the blood was on the doorpost. The lambs in the field raised their head to a hollow sound. The soles of my feet quake, our sons were sparred. Father says to Pinchas, but in the field I hear horses, and I have my own first son on my back, my Aaron, and I turn from the sound of hooves, and I run across the field that rolls beneath me, twisting at my ankles. I look behind all the men on horses, stay on the road, a dozen Cossacks in high boots and billowing trousers, and one turns his face toward me. I run hard, and they go on toward the village, and I follow the hedge line and through a stand of water oaks, and Aaron begins to cry, his tiny hands plucking at my ears. Be still, I say. In my cottage, now my husband gone a-lashing in my chest like trees, in a wind and a basket by the step. I put my son inside, my shawl on top, for when this is all done, another must find him, a scythe nearby. I cut my hand and spill my blood upon the door. Number 6. John Martin. A young boy, decapitated by subway after lifting sidewalk grate and falling onto the tracks below. 1921. Babe, oh babe, hit it all the way out here, babe, and jumping jim jams, he's done it, the ball lifting up like a 4th of July rocket, but not exploding, just keeping on going up and coming my way out here in the right field bleachers, and all the polo ground Johnnies around me losing their bowlers, falling on themselves, and there's a rush from the dark, and steel on my throat, and the nickel rolls perfect on its edge, and we're all real quiet, my friends and me, and down it goes into the gate, and down I go into the dark, after it, and down I go, falling to the track. I can see up now, but something's happened to my arms and legs. They're flimsy, loose, and too tight to lift, and it's only jostling shoulders and elbows, and sweet beads flying and hats tumbling, and I fight clear, and Babe's 31st of the year is falling from the sky, rushing at me. Oh, Babe, the orphan boy. Oh, Babe, smoking a cigar in his tweedy cap a few weeks ago. He comes out of the stadium trailing smoke, and I got nothing for him to sign but the back of my hand, and this time I'll take him a ball, but all of a sudden it dies, and falls a few rows in front of me. Babe signs my skin, and puts his hand on my head. Number 7. Second-hand furniture dealer. No, his name is Henry Landreau. Second-hand furniture dealer, also known as the Bluebeard of Gambase. Guillotined for the murder of 10 women. 1922. Okay. Number 7. Parlor mirrors are hard to sell when flawed like this one. Tinting my beard the color of a bruise, I clap my hand over the bristled hair and turn to this woman, but her dear eyes are blind to my beard, seeing only my sympathetic gaze, and her face is traced with age, and her upper lip is furred, and her husband is long dead, and her hands are brittle from my scrubbing, and she is worse than dead as a widow, her money useless to her. The newspapers were right. I am spinning from mother's goose mouth, the young wife choking back her disgust at my blue beard, which, however, I do not shave, and I go off giving her all the Chateau's keys and warning her on pain of death not to enter the cellar room, the room where I have secretly placed the disassembled bodies of 7 wives, the room that yields only to this small key, which, however, I do not simply withhold from her. My hands quicken, I kiss Madame's furred lip, and she cries out in pleasure, and the deal is struck, a moment of passion she would have never have had. For the dead man's settee, and his 4-poster bed, and his commode, and his wife's head lying upon its pillow, and this clever in my hand, and I cut through and hold it up, her eyes still blinking, and I kiss her trembling lips. Number 8. Paul Gorgulov, Russian immigrant to France. Guillotined for assassinating French President Paul Doumer at charity book signing. 1932. Silver rivets all around. I step into the rocket Paul Gorgulov space pilot, who turns to Professor Aubert and shakes his hand, and I am to fly his rocket to the moon. And I step from the rocket, the rivets scorched black, and great crowds of people press in crying, "Tell us your story." And I sit before the window, and I take up my fine pen, and the pistol is on my desk, and a sheaf of blank paper, and I post the cap of my Mont Blanc, and I write the memoirs of Paul Gorgoloff, and the pages tumble from me. Paul Gorgoloff, the writer, paces the floor, the carpet worn through the desk, overflowing. I am in a crowd now that clamors for books, and they are fools not recognizing the greatness moving among them. My pen clipped in my shirt pocket, and Claude Ferreri, a novelist, unworthy to wipe my dripping nib, sits signing, and I deign to buy his useless hands about bread makers in the distant future replaced by robot hands. And he autographs my book with a cheap pen, and I turn the book and I uncap my Mont Blanc before his eyes, and I sign it above his name, Paul Gorgoloff, the man who killed the President of the French Republic, Paul Dumais, at another table signing his books, thinking himself a writer, and the pistol is in my hand, and I critique his work. Number 9. Benita von Berg, German Baroness, beheaded by Adolf Hitler for espionage, 1935. Dying tip of one cigarette I touch to another. My cell at Ploncenzy is full of tobacco smoke, and I fill my lungs holding very still. Woolen socks on my feet, prison trousers, and shirt if I could but whiten my face and trace my lips in scarlet. We lean together and sing Brecht, the club full of smoke, and bodies, the acme and tails, and white tie points at me. Welcome to cabaret, madam, but free that red fox about your neck, he is our comrade. And it is Munich, now a woman in a swirl of silk, her body naked beneath. She leaps onto our table, and her woman smell fills my lungs. I leave my cigarette in my mouth, and my hand falling the sound of weeping from some other cell. I slip my hand inside these rough trousers to my own cleft, like hers flashing above me on the table. And her face is white, her lips scarlet, and Friedrichstrasse is ablaze with electric light passing in a cab. His clumsy Polish hand between my legs. I whisper, "Captain, your country is in danger," as if I loved him. And our voices swell through the smoke, and we sing "There Was a Time, and Now It's All Gone By." And I move down the corridor into the room of the axe, and the executioner turns to greet me, and he is dressed in tails, and the white tie welcome. Number 10. Nguyen Van Trien, Viet Minh guerrilla leader, guillotined by French colonial authorities, 1952. Very still, I hold my rifle hard against my chest, and I am careful even in the breath I draw. I am folded against a mangrove tree, my knees tucked close. I move my eyes, but I can see none of my comrades, and of course I cannot hear them, for we all wait on the noisy French, wait till they are between the two columns of us, and I should at least be able to see my friend Kai. I know his place forward in a closing of vines, but he is not there, and I wait for the French, and I think of my father in his collar and cravat, and the way his head would draw down like a tortoise. When he spoke of the Frenchman who ran his lycée, "Pull your collar off, my father. Seize by the throat that man who shames you." And my father is a vase of ashes, and my mother prays in the Berthois myth that his spirit lives yet in another realm, and I hear them nearby, breaking dry leaves beneath their feet, and it is time I make a sharp bird cry, and I leap now, but there is no rifle in my hands. I have come from the trees onto the path, and there are not Frenchmen, but Vietnamese in Mandarin dress, and one turns his face, and it is my father, and he offers his hand. Number 11. Alwi Shah, Yemeni executioner. Beheaded for a crime unrelated to his work. 1958. Rising slow from a low place, I see a row of heads sitting before me on a stone wall, ear to ear, arrayed beyond my sight to either side. I face them, and their eyes turn to me, and I hear the stirring of feet all around me. A jumbled huddling in of bodies naked and battered with bones cracked, and bulging knots, and blooms of bruise, and crusted lappings of blood. How I loved you all, loved righteously, snapping the cords of all your lives. And so you come to taunt me, but praise Allah, I have done his holy work, and I took as his sign the trill of sweetness that came upon me in this my work, and now I turn and look into the stone-shattered face of a Halima al-Skakav, an adultering woman, and she holds in her right hand the head of Akram al-Shami, her lover, who, like the others, moves his eyes to me, and I praise Allah, you have paid righteously, and she says, praise Allah, who we call the one God, and who loves his creatures. We are sent as you knew us, but we are restored in heaven. And I see now that my own head hangs in her left hand, and I cry, praise Allah, he will have mercy on me also. And she says, the mercy of God seeks sinful love before righteous hatred, and I wait for my head to fall. Number 12. Chicken. American Pullet. Beheaded in Alabama for Sunday dinner. 1958. Little grit things in the straw here, and I peck, and they're gone, and I go over there, a wormy thing, but it's a leaf stem, which I always grab, but it never goes mush like an actual worm, which I look and listen for, and the flying ones come down, and they walk among us, and they cock their heads, and hear their slither in the earth, and they grab, and up one comes, but after a rain it's good. For me, the worms come up, and I run here, and I run there, and I eat, and the grit is good, to over there. I go for the grit, though the soft slither is even better, but it's dry now, dry all around, and they are vanished. Wait. The rest of me is gone, and from behind the wire, from past the dog leap, from down the long ruts I can hear a muttery, cluckering, and it is like when I broke at last from the eggy wall and into the light, and a fluff of feathers hovered near, and made this same sound, but this muckery-wuckering is vast. This is at last is the hen who fills the sky, and I am rushing now along the path, and the clucking is for me, and it is very loud, and a great wide road is suddenly before me, and she is beyond, and I cross. Number 13. Vera Jane Palmer. Stage name for Jane Mansfield. Actress. Decapitated in car crash. 1967. I feel a sneeze coming. I'm good. Faint his face, his eyes, but I feel the soft run of his hand on my hair. I am so tiny, I am so much his little Vera, that I am breathless. I put my arms across his chest. My father and I listen to the draw of his breath, and he is gone, and I am, before these faces upturned. I could open my arms and not get round them. All I am, their Jane. All I am, their Miss Freeway. I am their Miss Electric Switch, and Miss Photo Flash, and Miss Geiger Counter. I am their Miss Pure Maple Syrup. I am the wide, clean road to where they want to go, and I am the thing you touch to turn on the light, and I am the bright, caught moment, and I am the crackle of invisible fire that will burn the very flesh from your bones, and I am sweet beyond all bearing and pure, and I am channel number 5, and I sit in the quiet in a dressing room, before the eyes will turn to me, and I touch the scent to my skin, and suddenly I am the smell of jasmine and of orange blossom, and if you concentrate harder, I am rose and iris and lily of the valley, and if you wait, I am amber and patchouli and vanilla, and he puts his face in my hair, and he breathes in, and he says, how sweet. This kind of reminded me of what was the name of that what was the name of that woman who did that suicide jumping on top of the car? Evelyn McHale. Yeah, very interesting when that happened, when she jumped off and killed herself and landed on a car, and it looked very surprisingly artistic and picturesque. This kind of reminded me a lot of that. It might provide me some inspiration even. But anyway, I digress. Alright. So this was number... This was number 13. Okay. Number 14. Lei Van Key, Hue City official, beheaded by North Vietnamese troops. Blossoms floating on the perfume river plumeria and mango, the lychee, the water itself smelling the mountain flowers, even after the blossoms have eddied away. I drag my hand in the river, my father pulling at the oar, and he says my name sharply, Kai, and I take up my own oar again, and now we loll in the sun beside the South China Sea, my father sleeping, my mother huddling against my sister, and speaking low, and I wander away, back toward the river, far along the edge of the lagoon, and even though there is no one in sight, my heart is already beating furiously, and the jungle closes in and around a bend, and she is crouched by the river's edge, and I cut toward the tree line before she knows to look up. I circle and I creep close. Her back is to me, and she must be a peasant girl. Her skin is dark from the sun, and her shirt clings to her. Her naked back shines through the thin, wet cloth, and she angles her head and pours the river into her long midnight hair, once and again, and she has stolen my breath, and she sits back and shakes her wet hair, and I watch, never seeing her face. Then she rises and goes away forever, and I understand. Though the blossoms pass along in the current and vanish, the river still smells sweet. Number 15. Kimitake Hiraoka, pen name for Yukio Mishima, Japanese novelist. Beheaded at his own request by a parliamentary colleague as he committed ritual disembowelment after failing to persuade Japan's self-defense forces to overthrow the government. That sounds like the name of, like, the most post-punk band ever. Anyway. 1970. Tokyo roiling in flames like the sea, my young man's body too frail to find a patriot's death. I am a watcher shaping words already from the roof of the arsenal. My wrists thin, my arms a girl's arms, the American bombers invisible in the scarlet smoke of the night sky. The flames now inside my body, brought there by my own hand, my own sword, my samurai arm. No. Vanished now, no body at all. But words, always words, only words, which are my coward's sword. And I call the flames to return, to fill the sky with bombs. Take the salarymen sleeping on commuter trains, take the shops filled with breakfast cereal, the French perfume, and vacuum cleaners take the politicians who yield our swords. Who make our emperor the English queen. Rise up, my country grown girlish and frail. My face grows hot from the flames of Tokyo, and from shame at my body, and then 10,000 confrontations before a gymnasium mirror, and my arms thicken my thighs, muscled, carrying me to an act. I am breathless with power, the rising sun tied round my head. I am before our warriors, our past, and they laugh at a girlish boy-child, and the city lies quiet against the night, the horizon filling not with flame but with words, with manuscripts. I have named myself after snow. I have been cold all along. I am only a warrior. I messed up the last word. I am only a writer. 16. Robert Kornbluth, senior partner in advertising firm. Decapitated by elevator. 1984. Look, I cry. She closed the door right in your face. The whiskers, sir, you must erase. Burma shave swept by my headlights. There I wrote those words. My hands clenched tight on the wheel. The wrong thing to say. She is quiet beside me, quaking and weeping in rage, and I yearn for a no more tears formula. I give the best for you each morning. I say it takes a wife to know the difference between Hanes and just underwear. Surely I'm not speaking these words to Anne, the long-suffering, Anne, my wife, once my wife, long ago. We are in a brand new 1952 Packard. Ask the man who owns one. Long before this present darkness came upon me. Is it possible? Panties more uncomfortable than wearing nothing? Anne naked by the window in a luxury suite, affordable comfort. No more tears, I say. Do you know me? She says. What we have is the real thing, I say. And she is gone. I dream of her, and she is wearing her maiden-form bra, and my mouth brims with words that I know will do only harm. Would you offer a tiparillo to a lady? A cigarette, at least? Outside the lawyer's office? Mellow? An aid to digestion? We smoke and we stay silent, and she sighs and is gone. Don't lose your head to gain a minute. You need your head. Your brains are in it. Number 17. Jennifer Hadley, marketing director. Decapitated in car crash. 1989. Overheard jet engines, the phone rings, and a flash of landing lights outside. The chocolate mint still on my pillow. I know who it is. Hello, I say. Hello, he says. I'm just down the hall, he says. I know, I say. We are going to do this, he says. A statement. My husband has called already to say good night, and I say, your wife's call? Just finished, he says. I don't say that I'm having trouble holding the phone to my ear. I am so weak in the limbs, breathless. Overheard jet engines, the phone rings, a flash of light beyond the window, and jet rushing back to earth from somewhere. The chocolate on my pillow. Hello, I say. Hello. I'm just down the hall, he says. I know, I say. Are we going to do this, he says. The phone rings, a sound like ice falling from the eaves. Jet engines overheard. My husband standing thigh-high in snow just beyond our patio, his breath plumbing, and ice falling between us. And then he waves. Did it snow? I ask him tonight. Yes, he says, but the ice is worse. The wires are down. There is no electricity, no heat. I say good night, the line rasping with his thrown kiss. I put the receiver in the cradle. I pick up the chocolate. I put it down. Jet engines overheard. The phone rings. There is a knock at my door. Number 18. Nicole Brown Simpson, California woman, decapitated by assailant, 1994. Let me just make sure Okay, number 18. So this is so easy to lose track of this. Running hard along Venice Beach, the clutch of breakers round my feet. I run against the pole, and I've come to this, to a place of jasmine smell and sea and car exhaust and stucco walls and Hollywood spelled across a mountain, and I run easily with the question, What can I be? I've got great legs, he says, and he should know because he runs for a living. I love to see him run, though. He says I don't really understand, but I do run with him each time he holds something private in his arm, and all the others rush to bring him down, but he cuts and jukes and surges. Run now, my children. Run down the hall and close your doors, because I cannot. His sweet, slick child's face in the faces of my children. Such beautiful skin. I draw my hand tender along his cheek, and he closes his eyes. The moon out there rising, I am large with her inside me. My child, the glass shatters, and the bones of my face vibrate, and my teeth all hurt. I draw my hand along my cheek. I think to try to run, and he rushes up fast, and I can see what's tucked there in the crook of his arm, and it is me. It is my head, and I stare into my own eyes, and I know the answer, always, was his wife. Number 19. Mohammed Aziz Najafi, Iraqi Shiite cleric, beheaded by Saddam Hussein, 1996. Barren ground but holy, this plateau before me, trampled smooth by the feet of millions, the true people of Allah. But empty now, though it is Haji, and the Mount of Mercy is behind me. I feel its press between my shoulder blades, and the pilgrims should be everywhere, but the ground is beaten into silence, and there is no one. Oh, Allah, leave me not alone, for I have no seed but your holy words. I have no family but the family of your great people, no child but your revealed way. I would summon the millions cloaked in white, so I could be among them, and we would cry out as one, Allah, I have responded to you. I am draped in seamless cotton, I am barefoot, and I am pentient, and the echo of my prayers is still in my head. I have been silent, only the briefest of moments, and I yearn for the tumult of my brothers in Allah. I would kneel and touch my face to this long beaten ground, as one with a million other faces. But no, I am standing upright, and I am alone, and before me now there is only a desert tamarisk, feathery pink, the merest growing thing, and it catches the sun, as if it is on fire, and I hear a voice say to me, it is time now to take thy only son and cut his throat. Number 20. Lydia Koenig, Chicago woman, decapitated by her son, 1999. Baby mama calls me baby on my lap, a lump of cloth baby doll, and then a freckled face. Howdy doody, baby. I hum his name, his puppet strings folded under. Not a doll, but I like his hard legs and arms beneath his clothes like real bones. Lake Michigan at twilight, the color of tarnished brass. A hand inside my lap, and he asks me that night atop the Prudential building, the lake too dark to see, and then my baby, my own baby boy, his bones deep and untouchable inside him. I dress him in pink, thinking it makes no difference. I told him baby, and then in plaid, and he has freckles on his nose, and he stinks of urine from his bed. I carry the great lump of soiled cloth and the Tide waiting, the cleaning power of Tide and Oxidol and Clorox, and the man is gone, and my baby cries all night through. Though he is no baby, he has returned, and he says, help me find a vein, help me tap this vein. And I cannot. I take his load of piss sheets to the Maytag in the basement, and it is cool here, and it smells of the lake on a bad day, and I wash them and dry them sitting in the dimness of the basement, and I hold these sheets in my lap. My baby's voice is behind me. Number 21. Cloud Messner, homeless man, decapitated by Amtrak train after laying his neck on the track. And the year 2000. No, oh no, not him again. From the rush of a fucking train, I get the old man. What's that taking that goddamn train so long? It was here a moment ago. Maybe it's lying on its side jumped by a penny on the track. I hide in the weeds, and my shiny Lincoln head is out there waiting for the Illinois Central from Chicago. And I know I should be thinking about the careening of the engine, the flight of the baggage car into the trees, but all I've got is him whipping off his belt to do me. The son of a bitch. He disappears for a week, only to come back for this. And I can't fucking believe I'm lifting my hand trying to take his. We're walking along storefronts. I'm barely taller than the fire plugs, and I'm trying to take that hand, and it flicks like a housefly. And later on, there's a long while, a few years, or just me and my mother, and she likes her young man. She runs her finger through the great front wave of my hair. And then he's back, and he's about breaking my arm, and I'm in a barber's chair, and I could see my beautiful duck's ass of a doe in the mirror, and I whisper to the barber, "Please, just a little around the edges." And my dad says, "Buzz him up clean. Take it all off." 22. Lois Kennerly, systems analyst, beheaded in collapse of the South Tower of the World Trade Center, 2001. Oh my God, Paul Anka is looking at me now. Even as he sings, he bends down from the stage, and his hand comes out asking me to rise to go up there with him, and I am next to him dazzled by the lights, the crowd roaring his voice near my face. Squeeze me oh so tight, and his arm comes around me. I am 16, and now I am 20, and we step out the side door of the church hall, and no one has noticed us go. Me in my bridal dress, and Sam in his tux, and we crouch flat-footed near the door like you see the Vietnamese do on TV, and we smoke, and I've just married him, but this is the moment I know I love him for sure, us smoking outside alone, and the snow is falling behind my window. I have awakened, and I know it's time for my baby. She's ready, though my water hasn't broken, and I'm not in any pain. I know this is the day, and it's still snowing beyond the hospital window. The flakes look big as her hands, and she's taking my milk, and Sam is signing, "You're having my baby," and I think him a damn fool. She's mine, and I can hardly see. The lights are so bright, and an arm slips around my waist. Put your head on my shoulder. Just thought it was necessary to sing that, because I know that. Alright, just writing more notes for the end of this session. Okay. So this is number, let's see. Okay, so I'm on 24. 24. Isiama Awolabi, woman of Bani, Burkina Faso, beheaded by fatwa, 2002. Mother, I cannot see your face. I walk beside you too young to veil my own, but I yearn for your eyes. Surely I can see my mother's eyes even in public. Let the men turn their own eyes away for my sake, but behind us there are the 9 mosques that have risen from the earth, and their veined walls are beneath our feet. The desiccated road, for Father takes us east to a pure love of Allah, and his back is to me. No, he has turned around in Nigeria. I am nearly a woman. The veil drops upon my face. He whispers that I live now where the road has ended on the cliff's edge, and I lift this thing between me and the world. I will lose my balance and fall to my death, so my mother will never see my eyes again in sunlight, and there is a great rushing about me now. She lies dead and veiled, and I slip into the night, and the moonlight falls upon my naked eyes, my hand in the hand of a man whose body is unveiled, and his part rises like a mosque in Bani, and I speak to the world a gentle truth about the prophet, and the dark swims upon me, and I hurtle back along the road to the mosques of my home, where I know that heaven is simply a shaping of the earth. 25. Hanadi Taisir Jaradat, law student. Beheaded by a self-detonation of Shahid Belt suicide bomb. 2003. I am heavy with child praise, Allah. I am at last with child. My head is full of the law that I am permitted to study to serve our people, but I have not forgotten my greater destiny praise. Allah, I am also with child. The words of the Prophet, peace be upon him, saying paradise lies at the feet of mothers. I have not forgotten. I move across rubbled ground, and my baby is pressed hard against my womb. Wait. My face is naked. My hand is bare. I touch where my baby is, and he is very heavy, 10 kilos, and his bones are large and hard and stacked side by side. His cord winds secretly into the pocket of the jeans that bind my legs, my loins. I wear the clothes of harlots. My head is on his private part. I am but depressed there. My baby placed in me by a man with his face covered. I turn my head and open my cloak to a man I do not know. An angel of Allah, surely. His arms around me, and my baby is suddenly holding me tight. I am moving in a room full of people cursed by Allah. My baby heavy against me. Surely he has eyes, and a mouth, and a heart. A woman nearby, damned but large with child. I have my own. I touch him, and he cries out. Okay, number 27. Earl Daggett, laid off Mississippi heavy equipment operator, beheaded by his lover's husband. 2003. Elmer, that economy-sized coon turd who is my friend, points his shotgun straight up over his dang head. In mine, if you please, I'm standing right next to him, and he goes and does this so fast that I ain't got time to jump away from sharing his rightly earned fate. He pulls the trigger, fixing to kill a squirrel, and instead of bringing buckshot and tree limbs, a small animal guts raining down on our heads like he ought to be the outcome, he plumb misses the whole trees and falls backwards. He's got that bad a damn aim. And likewise his thumbs is always about hammered to pulp whenever it's time to tar paper his barn or fix a porch plank. And he don't ever deserve the love of Maisie, who has billowy warm thighs, and Elmer probably can't even manage to get it into her honey pot. Not with both hands on his pecker and a red flag flying between her legs. So I figure I'm okay as I open one eye and it's only 2:30, and he should be at the planing mill. The Maisie is still snoring like a rotary saw beside me, and I jump up and grab my pants to make one clean leap. Here I go right now. I am so light and graceful, like a greyhound at the track. I'll just leap through that window and be clean, plumb away from his axe. Number 28. Maisie Hobbs, Mississippi woman, beheaded by her husband. 2003. Night that's dark as fresh tar on the country road. We toll through our trailer park late from Wednesday church, and I rest my chin on our Chevy's door, and white-lid window after another goes by Mandy Lou leaning into Henry, him putting his arms around her, and shadows going up and down beside the flicker of Lila's TV. And I'm thinking I'm fixing to grow up and take a man inside me, and I'm moving along in another tarry night through the woods out back of Stanko lawns, ornaments, and tombstones. And he's got me by the hand, saying sweet things like, "You little duel exhaust you. You little road runner, let me rev you up." And I keep on batting at him till we're on a stump at the quarry pond. And this is the good part. This is the part I knew I'd like. The cuddle beforehand. Him knowing I'll say yes, and it makes him cuddle real good, 'cause I know him already. It's the only way he's getting inside me. And I say I got to have a great kiss first, and then he can go down there to what he wants. And he squares around and puckers, and he moves in fast, glancing off my nose and sliding along my cheek. And he says, "Oopsie doops, sorry there, Maisie." And I say, "That's okay, Elmer. He's so cute being clumsy. I know I'll marry him." Number 29. Robert Durand, commuter, beheaded in crash of Staten Island ferry. Underneath her earlobe, with its whip of invisible fuzz, the cleavage of her toes in her pointiest black stilettos, the hollow of her ankle, her sacral dimples each holding a tiny shadow, as she sleeps in the morning light that slides beneath the shade. Unawares, she has sloughed off the toga of bedclothes, the long indent of her spine bared, and those dimples I put the tip of my tongue in one, and she stirs, my wife. Her shoulders, her tall knuckles, the lift of her arm, the hollow beneath. I put my face there, and she bats at my ear. "I'm not fresh," she says. "It's you," I say, kissing this hidden place. The round forward points of her hips that I palm as she sits upon me. My wife, my Anne. And she will not close her eyes. "I want to see you in that moment," she says. The knot of her wrist, her brow. I ruffle her brow with my lower lip, the tiny arc of a scar on the back of her hand. The mark of a Christmas tree light, the bruises of that childhood long gone, and the father dead, and the mother too. Just this scar remains, and I turn her hand, and I kiss her there, and she puts her hands on my cheeks, and she draws me to her, and presses me down, and she kisses me on the top of the head. Number 30. Tyler Alkins, civilian truck driver, beheaded by the Iraqi al-Tawhid wal Jihad, Monotheism and Holy Struggle, 2004. My name is Tyler Alkins, my voice sounding far off, guttering like the bleeder flames in the refineries outside Houston. My mother's name is Marietta, the red dot on the video camera, a drop of blood at the corner of her mouth. My father's name is Ralph, and the old man is upon me, grabbing at my shoulder. "Body, turn around, and take this beating now," he says. But I wrench my mind to him, and me out with shotguns waiting for the doves to break, and then he squeezes at my shoulder, but gently, the feathers of a dove fluttering still from the air, the kick of the gun shuddering through me, and a hand comes upon my shoulder from behind, and a voice cries, "Allahu Akbar!" And it is just me and my rig driving the interstate hard at night, the sodium vapor lamps coming up out of the dark like a sky full of nearby stars. I live in Lubbock, Texas, and our own George the President, and he calls upon all of us, and I can drive a truck, and my old man grabs my shoulder, and I have done something wrong, and he says in the name of Jesus and a bite at my neck, "Allahu Akbar," and George has prayed to God, and he will kick ass, and plenty of it, and my father cries, "Take this beating now for your own good." Number 31. Vasil Bukhalov, Bulgarian agricultural aid worker, beheaded by the Iraqi Salafist Brigade of Abu Bakr al-Siddiq, 2004. On my tongue, the bitter bite of green walnut Baba's face in the lamplight, her hands black from the peeling of the skins, the nuts inside white, and very soft, too young yet to be hardened, and I eat another and another until bitter is sweet to me, and the cheese she gives me is soft as well and tastes like the goat's milk, but after it's turned, and it tastes also of the stable floor and of the rutted earth, and I make a face. I am very young, and Baba puts her hand on mine, and she says, "Eat more, and you will find the taste is good." And then her hand touches my face. "You look like your grandfather in this light." And I have seen a picture on a postcard of Diado, and I will look again to see if I can find my own face. And I look into my own son's face and see Diodo's eyes. And I make cheese, and I grow pears, and I give my son a curl of cheese from my fingertip. And he makes a sour face, and Baba lays her forearm beneath the piss spill of the lamp, and she shows me the number 3. She shows me the number there, faint, in blue. "I was in the Macedonia because of your grandfather, and they took us." And this is all she says. "And we eat bitter herbs, and they taste sweet to me now." So, that was 62 of the real-life examples, but apparently there is a satirical, self-referential one at the end. Let's check this one out. Robert Olin Butler, which, if you don't remember, is the author of all of this, the writer, decapitated on the job in 2010. "Heedless words but whispered, they begin as I stand there before the guillotine, and I am filled with the scent of motor exhaust, and wood fire, and fish sauce, and jasmine in a strange country. A good scent, her hand in mine at last. The city that roars in my dreams is beyond the stucco walls, a balcony. The Saigon River, the rim of the world bleeding from the setting sun and self-righteousness. The guillotine in the museum rises above the cannon barrels, and rotor blades and unexploded bombs. The blade darkened by the wet air, and the voices begin to speak, not in my head, not in the place where I think, but in my ear, directly in my fingertips, a computer screen before me, the clatter of keys like tiny clawed feet running in a wall. Come to me, little ones, nibble from my hands, snuggle into my pockets, and curl your naked tails in peace, like these words already fixed, and bound and tucked beneath my arm, 6 autographs signed tonight, and thanks for buying my book. I step into the elevator, and I am alone, and the air buzzes in silence, and I consult the scrap of paper in my pocket to see where I belong, and I push the button, and down the hall there are voices agitated, ardent, full of yearning, and I lead forward, and I stick my head out and listen. Alright, so that concludes all of the shorts, as it's called, of the 62 segments from the book Severances by Robert Olin Butler. And this was very, very fun doing this, and I took some notes while doing all of this. And I guess the 2 most interesting things I've discovered reading this, these stories have an interesting polar duality in actually 2 different ways. They bring beauty in the most ugly external circumstances. I mean, suicide bombings, terrorist attacks, all of them beheadings, child abuse. And it's a way to bring beauty out of that, but I don't think this is trite at all. It still has a sense of realism in it. And it brings poetry and beauty into the most boring of circumstances. And when I say some of this is boring, and I don't think I'm the only one who'd be thinking this, sometimes the geopolitics involved is quite boring because most of us would be not familiar with stuff going on in the Middle East, or in Yemen, or in Vietnam. So I do feel this is a very encyclopedic work as well. And I love how wide it is. in terms of how many people and stories it references. So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this, and I doubt many people are going to listen to this, but for those that do, I hope you could feel it, and I hope you had as much fun listening as I did narrating or orating this. And this has been John Wishes, and you have been listening to Inalienable Paradise, and I will see you again.